The plan was simple but effective. Remove the rebels and their supply of weapons and work inwards towards their base, eliminating resistance in a methodical and controlled manner. Ashwell whispered the command word that would start the attack. Shadow Strike. He opened fire, putting a single gas-propelled bolt into the eye of the Ogryn. He collapsed backwards, brain turned to pulp, but the detonation was somehow contained by its thick skull. The blur of rounds crisscrossed the space between the atmospheric heat exchangers and the coolant risers. The only other noise were the panicked shouts and pained cries of the rebels to the tempo of stalker bolts launching through flesh. The survivors of the first salvo laid about their surroundings with rapid-fire slug throwers and las rifle. The gun runner pulled out a plasma pistol, stupidly large in his hand. Ashwell noted that it was an Imperial Army issue. There would be further investigation to locate the source. Before the weapons dealer could open fire, Ashwell put 2 bolts into the smuggler's chest. The rebel leader turned and fled, leaving the fighting and dying to his minions. Ashwell followed along his high vantage point, endeavoring to keep the sights of his modified bolter squarely aimed at the seditionist's back, waiting for the moment to fire. He felt the movement behind him just as he was about to pull the trigger. A moment before the man was out of sight. Something nudged his arm as his trigger finger curled. His bolt flew past the target's head and exploded harmlessly against the pipe support. Snarling, he turned to confront the word that had interfered with his kill. He wore armor of the darkest blue, almost the black of the Raven Guard, and just as stealthily. In the midnight clad he would always claim, this wayward son of the 7th Legion, Ashwell was not surprised. "Nuon, I just saved you from making a critical error," said the Night Lord. "If he reaches his base," said Axwell, "he will alert the defenders to our presence." "Precisely. Didn't you listen to Lord Corax's axioms?" "Very carefully. And which part of 'be other than where the enemy believes you to be' was unclear." The rebel divided and rolled beneath the pipeline, dropping down into a brilliantly lit space below. Ashwell and Nuon had to follow down a metal stairway and found themselves on the platform of an abandoned transit station. A hatch between the tracks fell shut as they emerged into the high-ceilinged chamber. "I understand the intent, but it is narrow-minded to think that stealth solves all problems. Sometimes it is better for the foe to know exactly his predicament. Do not underestimate the value of fear." "I would prefer that we found our enemies unaware, all the same," Ashwell replied. "It is much easier to kill them that way." "It is even easier when they have surrendered." They reached the hatchet. No one lifted the cover as Ashwell stood ready with his bolter. No booby trap or sudden fire greeted them. "See? He flees in terror. He is their leader, so his terror will spread. He has seen shadows annihilate his men. That is a far greater weapon than stealth. It will make the cautious defensive, predictable. Be thankful that the structure of the below city prevents long-range vox casting. If we are swift, we will silence him before he can warn those in his headquarters. You should give them time to worry. We will follow him back to his lair. He is scared and not thinking properly. He will run, not to his men, but to the greatest power he knows, thinking it will protect him. He will take us to the Alpha Legionnaires. And then what? I ask again. Do your terror tactics break the conditioning of Legiones Astartes training?" Nuon chuckled. "It does not have to, Sergeant Ashwell. Alpheus' sons have already broken it for us. They have turned. They have reneged on oaths firmly sworn. They have placed themselves above duty, above sacrifice. They do not know it yet, perhaps, but they want to live. When our scampering friend reaches them, they will know that it is the Raven Guard that hunt them. For the first time in many years, they will hesitate. Fear does not have to send them screaming. It simply needs to dull the wits for the moment it takes to make a mistake. You would kill those that have surrendered? Why? That would make the enemy fight harder, wouldn't it?" "Not if they do not find out," replied Nuon. "I would not suggest parading the fact to the survivors. In fact, treat them well and have them say as much for a few days. Dread works best in contrast to hope. Torture a few others. Have them scream their confessions of resistance across the Vox. They will make a compelling argument. And when the enemy capitulates, slaughter them to avoid any risk of further disobedience." Ashwell was not sure whether to be amazed or appalled by his companion's cold-hearted assertions. Certainly, the Raven Guard has perpetrated some ruthless campaigns in their time, but the philosophies of the Night Hunter seemed purposely callous. "What makes you such an expert on oath breakers?" I know that I am not one, Nua replied quietly, but I slew many to be here. As I said, breaking one's oaths is a sign of weakness. I will die a warrior, not a victim.